Hi guys, and welcome to WholeElise. I'm Elise, and today I'm going to show you how to make lotion. Once you master this basic lotion recipe, you will be able to make as many lotions as you want. There is a lot of information in regards to making lotions online, and unfortunately not all the information is factual. So I have narrowed it down to 5 essential ingredients that all lotions need. If you see any lotions or DIY recipes that do not have these 5 ingredients, this is a huge warning sign that unfortunately that recipe will not guarantee a safe and stable product. Not only will I give you a foolproof basic natural lotion recipe, but I'll also talk you through what each and every ingredient does and why it's so important to include in your lotion. So I do encourage you, even if it might be a little bit long, to try and watch all the way through to the end, because all of the information I'm giving in this video is crucial if you have any interest in making your own skincare. Let's start off with the basics. What is lotion? Lotion is just a form of moisturizer. Generally speaking, most moisturizers fit within 3 categories: body butters, creams, and lotions. Body butters are pretty much all oil. It's a mixture between solid oils like cocoa butter, shea butter, mango butter, and liquid oils like almond oil, olive oil, and other types of oils to thin it out a little bit. They usually last a lot longer, they're heavier, thicker, more moisturizing. Because of this, you'll see quite a lot of recipes and DIYs for body butters, including my pumpkin spice body butter. Now, where it becomes tricky is when you try to make things like lotions and creams. Both incorporate water, and this changes the characteristics of the moisturizer. Water is added to moisturizers to make them lighter and easier to absorb into your skin. Broadly speaking, you can think of creams as being 2/3 oil and 1/3 water, and lotions have the least amount of oil, being around 1/3 oil and 2/3 water. The main difference between body butters and creams and lotions is the addition of water. By adding in water to moisturizers along with any other ingredient, you start to create things which are a lot less stable and therefore need more products to make sure that they're safe and easy to use. That's what makes lotion recipes usually so complicated, and that's why it can be quite difficult to find natural lotion recipes. Regardless of the recipe, regardless of if it's all natural or if you're buying it in a store, regardless of if you're making it for yourself or you're selling it for friends, the 5 key ingredients that all lotions need are water, oil, preservative, antioxidants, as well as an emulsifier.
Let's measure out our ingredients. The water and oil phases are kept separate at this stage, so we'll start with the water. Ideally, you should be using distilled water, which is pure H2O, whenever you're making cosmetics. But it can be difficult to get a hold of, so if this lotion is for personal use, just use freshly boiled water. It's not essential, but having a humectant like honey or glycerin is great for lotions, as they attract moisture and hydrate the outer layers of your skin. Combine this with the water. For the oil phase, I'm using almond oil and shea butter because they leave your skin soft and moisturized. However, you can always substitute this for your preferred oils, but using the same measurements. The emulsifier is added in with the oil phase, and once everything's measured out, place the almond oil, shea butter, and emulsifying wax in a heat-resistant glass.
Emulsifiers more deal with the texture. You see, oil and water just don't mix. You can push them together by force if you mix them up really well, but they will eventually separate. Because of course lotions are a mixture of oil and water, the only way we can get them to stay together is by using an emulsifier. Emulsifier just ensures that the consistency that you get when you just make your lotion stays exactly the same whether it's 30 days later or 3 months later. Now that sounds perfectly reasonable, but the problems come when you're trying to look for a natural emulsifier. Natural emulsifiers don't really exist. I mean, you could use an egg, but ew. Now, just because you can't exactly go into your garden and pick an emulsifier, it doesn't mean that you have to use all of these weird synthetic chemicals. You do have these things called emulsifying waxes, and they're emulsifiers that have been derived from natural ingredients. The way companies get around that is natural isn't a scientific term. It's more like an idea or a general concept. Unless you're using just pure oils on your skin, any sort of moisturizer or cream or lotion that you've used, bought, even if it's been labeled as natural, it will have an emulsifier in it. Let's go straight into the practical side of things by showing you how to make this rich, creamy, very moisturizing, all natural lotion. And if you're impressed with all this knowledge that I've been dropping throughout the video, why not give this video a big thumbs up as well as subscribing to my channel.
To make sure our lotion emulsifies correctly, both the water and oil phases should be heated to roughly the same temperature. It's easiest to do this by placing them in the same double boiler or heating method. It takes about 20 minutes over low heat for the oil and wax to melt down completely. As you can see, the heat is down very low as to make sure that the oil is heated very gently. I mentioned this earlier, but although emulsifying waxes look similar to beeswax and other types of natural waxes, they're not the same. Despite the name, emulsifying waxes aren't actually a wax, and they're made from several different ingredients. If you use a natural wax, it will thicken your lotion, but it won't actually create an emulsion, which is a stable formula. The oil and the water will begin to separate again in a matter of hours. Once everything's melted, slowly pour the water into the oil phase. Use a spatula to stir until evenly combined and then transfer onto a flat surface. Now we're going to whip up our lotion until it's fully emulsified and has a thick, creamy texture. This is only a small batch of 100 grams, so I'm going to use an electric milk frother so you can see what's going on. But you can use an electric whisk or an immersion blender. As the lotion cools, it will slowly start to thicken. The time it takes varies depending on what emulsifier you've used. If your lotion isn't thickening, leave it to cool for a while and then begin to blend. After a while, you can see the lotion really starting to thicken up. For me, this took about 5 minutes of blending. Once our lotion's all mixed up, we'll then move on to adding the preservatives, antioxidants, and fragrance if you want. For the preservative, I'm using Lucidol Liquid SF at 2%, which sounds complex, but it is a natural preservative. If you're using a different preservative, then make sure to follow its instructions on how much to use, as it does vary.
So let's start by talking about preservatives. Now, if you're interested in natural skincare or natural products in general, preservatives can indeed seem like the enemy. It seems completely unnatural. However, when it comes to skincare, preservatives are incredibly important. As I mentioned before, all lotions incorporate water. Not only does water hydrate your skin, but most crucially, water also fuels things like bacteria and fungi, and that is not something that you want in your skincare. And that is the function of a preservative. It's more about stopping any sort of harmful bacteria and fungi from growing in your lotion. You could be applying homemade lotion to your skin or to your face without realizing that there's already harmful bacteria growing in it. And in some cases, some of the bacteria growing in homemade lotion can be just as harmful as chemicals that you're trying to avoid. And that's why it's so important to make sure that all your lotion recipes have a preservative. If you make a lotion without having any sort of preservative, it will only last maximum 1 week, and that is being kept in the fridge. Now don't worry, there are actually forms of natural preservatives that you can use. All you need to know is that preservatives are 100% necessary, because where there is water, there is life.
To get a precise measurement, I would recommend using a pipette or something where you can easily control how much liquid you put in.
Next up, we have antioxidants. These are equally as important as preservatives in making sure that your lotion lasts, but they're often forgotten about. Whilst oil mixtures are generally more stable than water ones, they can still go rancid, especially when you're routinely dipping your fingers into them. And that's why you need an antioxidant. They help preserve the oil mixture so that you get the most out of your lotion. There has been a little bit of miscommunication about that, where some people think that vitamin E oil does also work to preserve your lotion as a whole. Unfortunately, antioxidants don't do anything for the water in the mixture. The only thing that the vitamin E oil helps to preserve is the oil, and you will still need to add a preservative for the overall protection of the lotion. Unfortunately, natural antioxidants are widely available. All you need to remember is that lotions require both preservatives for the water and antioxidants for the oil.
Vitamin E oil is a great antioxidant to use because other than preserving our oil, it has wonderful benefits for the skin and is widely available. I'm using it at a 1% concentration. I'm also adding lavender and vanilla essential oils as a natural fragrance for my lotion. This step is completely optional and it's not included in the base recipe, so feel free to leave it out or change the oils. I don't recommend adding any more than 1% of your lotion's formula as essential oils. That way it's not too strong and it's still fine for sensitive skin. The ingredients in this recipe add up to 100 grams, but as we whipped up our lotion, you'll need a container that's at least 25% bigger than that. You could also put your lotion in a pump bottle or any other container that you would prefer, although I do find that pump bottles are a nightmare to clean. And we're done! You should have a beautifully light, moisturizing and all natural lotion.
This homemade lotion recipe makes a really luxurious and silky smooth lotion that's moisturizing enough to keep your skin hydrated during the winter months, but still doesn't feel like you're putting on something very heavy. So this recipe here is about 70% water and 30% oils. Now that might seem like it's very light on the oils. However, because I use shea butter and almond oil, you'll find that you get this really rich, creamy, moisturizing lotion. When it comes to customizing lotion recipes, it's good to understand what you can change and what you can't change. In terms of the amount of emulsifier you use, the preservatives you use, and the antioxidant that you use, oftentimes those three things cannot be changed. Depending on what you buy, it will tell you the amount that you need to use in your lotion. However, when it comes to the water and the oil ratio, those things can be customized. Now I recommend keeping your lotions at 70% water, just because I find that you can actually do a lot within the oil section to change the texture. If you want either a lighter moisturizer or a heavier moisturizer, I recommend that you play around with the shea butter to almond oil ratios rather than trying to add or take away less water. I appreciate this was definitely a longer video, but I had a lot to discuss, especially because making your own skincare is so rewarding, but it can be quite difficult to find factual, helpful information out there. I really do hope that this video encourages you guys to play around with your skincare a little bit more, to try exploring making your own lotions and creams. And if you know anyone else who's also interested in making their own skincare or natural products, definitely share this video around, and that way we can get the right information out there to help people make their own natural skincare. I have a ton more natural DIYs on my channel. I also plan on making a lot more homemade skincare that incorporates more interesting ingredients like green tea and aloe vera and oatmeal. So you do want to make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you don't miss out when those videos come up. Definitely do give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Thanks for watching.
There was a lot to get through, but thanks for sticking with me on this one. Check out more of my DIY skincare recipes.